judge no wa fun ana emra eda nanim no wan fa anya adwuma ana say we attention and directly abusing a judge in a manner that Honorable Afenyo Markin did. And indeed, Honorable Afenyo Markin, and I've told him that he went way too far in some work, because apart from having the freedom to criticize the judge, there's a recourse. You can go to a superior court.
Felix Kwakye Ofosu, a minister in charge of government communications, Onwa Kroyasan ye MP for Abra Asebu Kwamankese. O see Afenyo Markin press conference na oye no enre ya no. O see sese ye chi ne tum. Ane, o see also no so ya arresting ni bi because o see wa disrespecting judge na papa. O see wa kasa mana bruso. What just say what say judge no cry into no was so no so ya because or see MPP time or no ebi mu cancer man na wo family mpo e chinwe now so ya chi wo mutu enti no as I say GB Ghana Bar Association for wo mu taking on because yes the fact that as Afenyo no or ye member of Ghana Bar Association no kwa but o sound so a minority leader na ne kasa o kan ye no abro so intino e wo say bomodin no so ye chini bi ane me be bo video ni nyina ama watie ene wa mema instances bebre time a MPP wo so enkofo mo chechi wo mu nyina bongo ideas mo ohene bani ene bongo Felix muntie 3 omu nyina wakeka sankofo ni nyina bobo ntese wa bobo long list oseso kasa o kan ebebro be 30 ane Bepacho hwani nyina fakosi uwia no wamma me comment fefefe o comment section hono uwie nso a na wa subscribe e de aboa unuaba me dase bebu
kind this MPP bomu that mo abeto jai obi entumi nkan ne MPP ni NDC mo mani nyeji because and you can go back say ye ka amanyuku a asofa historical judicial hostility a NDC. Let me am 30 different examples of things. Now we name it, and yes, I believe in the there's no political party that has benefited from judicial bias as in MPP. At least since the year 2000 and now 2001, when they have done everything to skew judicial pronouncements in their favor. Yeah, NDC4, we've endured it all this while. Almost here, Bemun and Sayano, can't be a few more tends to create the impression that suddenly the entire judicial system necessary and that assembly comma or more it simply means they say particular judges are politicians in Tinamoyaka. I thought you know me, I am on record. Some particular case involving Abronye. I'm on record to have publicly disagreed with the judge. Abra judge ruling say and there was a portion of the judge ruling or can say Abronye is not equal to others, and as a person say some people are more equal than others. I publicly said that was a very bizarre pronouncement. Any say Jina, it's a very own Abronye. In fact, me can't find Abronye club did the matem. But I still insisted that the judge had not treated Abronye fairly, despite all the political disagreements. I have also said, me as far as I'm concerned, that Obin Kasemwa a day. You never bread judge be, and I said a better change judge life, and now a day basabasa yet. Now after 2 years, no year Asia, Nipano, and you said you could not quote, and I said you got to. That is my belief. I'm very liberal on that principle. And see, I won't support anybody being sent to jail for merely criticizing a system, either judicial, executive, or legislative. But there's a difference between disagreeing with a judge, pointing out aspects of law, which is a judge, when this so, and I say, judge, what fool, and I am rare, and then one fine year, Juma, and I say, where you attention, and directly abusing a judge in a manner that Honorable Afenyo Markin did. And indeed, Honorable Afenyo Markin, and I've told him that he went way too far in some work, because apart from having the freedom to criticize the judge, there's a recourse. You can go to a superior court to set aside judge ruling and audience. Lawyer.
That's true.
And it has been done many, many times in Ghana. But to set a judge aside, single him out, and say you disrespect him, you disrespect. That is way too much. That is frontal abuse of a particular judge. Now, the Emma say, Ghana Bar Association. You see, for many years, position I'm there to get. I've held it many times. And that's the first time, and I'll continue to say it. Okay? This is an association in 2008.
Asempa FM.
Always the president, and if you knew Samuels, if you could not so, because he criticized the judge who jailed Chachikata. For criticizing the judge for jailing Chachikata, almost two president are there so. President Mama, there were many instances in opposition. They criticized the judiciary. They were quick to come out to denounce him. In fact, in one instance there, almost on a platform, Emma both Attorney General Gofedami, any President Akufo-Addo, Emma attacking President Mama for expressing disquiet about judicial outcomes. Yet, as someone Afenyo Markin totally abusing the judge, Mama Komanuatu. They remain silent, deathly silent, as someone says. Uyasana, you are abusing public confidence in the association, because for many years the posture they've adopted, they say, first of all, they defend the judiciary, and I feel so matters relating to human rights violations that they are so omukebi.
Yes.
In fact, about 30 years ago, Greater Accra Regional Branch of Ghana Bar Association, lawyers at Greater Accra, they withdrew their services because the Supreme Court held one of their members in contempt for attacking the judiciary. They've done all of this in the past. Yet, people also be a normal common to see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. If I think what they have done is unprincipled, and that they need to be called out. See a man, no clear that one. The the way the Ghana Bar Association operates is not fair, it's not balanced. If they are a partisan association, so then there's no public expectation of them to perform any function beyond supporting the MPP. But things will go back. A footfall, I can't send BDA, and Tampana no be a thing. I can say to any panel, I condemn. But when it involves the MPP, no more to they drag their feet. Okay, Obi, I told me as I know. That narrative announcing MPP before they back and trying to create the impression that suddenly there's some abuse of freedoms and that the judiciary suddenly is in bed with the NDC. No, I didn't want to go back to record these instances. But MPP, Afenyo Markin, no more thing in our common. What did they not do to people who express themselves under MPP? Meno Kaseson said, Bobi Ansa used to host program now, who hosted this year.
Yes.
In 2021 or 2022, Bobi Ansa Koka said, a year 10 first lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and vice president at the time, Spamia Baumia, Omakwaje Asasibu or Cantonment Sahano Moody Sidan. Because of that, Bobi Ansa was picked up and taken to court. Make us say the matter is still in court. The matter is still in court. Tell me bongo ideas.
Minimum.
Abraham Tebi or what with that?
Sure.
Okay, can't some. Or can't send the family, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo. They didn't take him to court. They kidnapped him for days. State security, they kidnapped him for days for saying something about the first lady at the time. Mensa Thompson. Or can't say on my penima at the presidential jet a 2 coin. I don't know, man. Oman ko so ni mutwetwe anko sha ban kukum. And I could go on and on and on and on for the things that they did to people who express views in this country. How is it that suddenly almost abemu na the same emrana omodewi amount for no ye the view ma then suddenly they are insulting and attacking judges. Okay, Muntie 3 Obi Muntie 3 were they not sentenced to 4 months imprisonment for abusing judges?
Yes.
For abusing judges. The owner of Radio Good at the time, Mr. Atuahoy, and now on the baby, he didn't even know who was appearing on his program that day. You buy for a fine of 30,000 cities because of some of the radio stations. And yet, before no more say, Adia, court near at the papa. Did they even not jubilate over it? Oman condemn those of us who insisted say the sentence was a bit excessive. Oman condemn it. If no cranning and Canadian people complain, tell the question another part. Me, I've told you, say, I don't believe to be cast some effort that necessarily should lead to prosecution and after imprisonment, unless it breaches the peace and after it threatens the life of the individual concerned. But Canadian people say same. What is their position? Last week, was about my issue statement. Claiming, say, free speech is being criminalized. And I know Abra Nigeria, Obi Khan, Nigeria, once a more. Yachi Nipano, make us say, assembly work courts, will be answered. What was Dr. Bamia's position? Sabi Oka, yes, so, in all fairness and honesty, can you say, said them before, can a genuine? So, we need to be fair. Now, more journalists, I say, I tell you by an NDC, not NDC MPP, as some. Afenyo Markin are all complaining. Did you not file a case and within 2 hours, the full panel of the Supreme Court was assembled? Can't mediate in Ghana. Are there no cases? Aqua Quarter, we in the NDC have expressed reservations about them. And before it still say it was right. So for as long as courts rule, there will be disagreements. But nobody can frontally disrespect a judge in the manner that Afenyo Markin did. Ghana Bar Association, they cannot not too. Because there are people in society here, they have less responsibility. Someone a work from Afenyo who have been punished. Or he never ban or a presenter or SYZ TV. Or what can I say? Anako Fado, a party Supreme Court to the MPP before. But Fedame cited him for contempt at the High Court. I mean, it need to refuse 14 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah, but honorable, I mean, all the instances now, one manner. There were instances at the NDC then in opposition complained about, based on which the NDC promised to reset this country. Resetting, in my understanding, means you do something materially different from what you complained about. If you do the same things under a reset, now or justification is MPP for also that is some way. And
Obi, Attorney General was Governor Ayini, and you be a court, a prosecution. President of Fedame, for saying anything against the judiciary. Says about power.
No, sir, Attorney General delegated power, so the Biama police and the police are prosecuting people.
Question. But you see,
yes,
a judge, the assembly, not the judge rules, president of the country, Attorney General, cannot say, said my judge and enforce it. William said, in a Abonye case, no, the prosecution actually opposed one of the denials of bills, sir. And yet the judge went ahead to remand Abonye. So you must stick to that. So that it doesn't create the impression, say, the MP before, no. There are instances also where members of the public have complained about what some have said about them. There's an instance of a journalist, of a BB, a former NCA board chairman, only a member of this government went to complain, and then the police took the person to court. But it will be announced, and I said it will be broadcast to say the police have taken somebody to court. It was not at the instance of government. So we must also limit. Anytime you do courts on anything they say, I take the trouble to find out what has happened. And almost 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with government. But as I don't believe that anybody should be taken to court for anything they say. But we must look into the matter separately and not be quick to lump parties together to make excuses for misconduct.
Yeah, but the challenge is from the instances you refer to under the NPP, most of those instances, the police that made arrests, the police prepared charge sheet and for echo court. They could also have argued, say it had nothing to do with government, because police for charge sheet, Omunina refer to Section 208 of Act 29, Omu refer to the section in the Electronic Communications Act, which some have even argued, say, under a reset, no, we should be even talking about how do we get those things out of our statute books. That conversation is not even being had.
That is fine. We can have that conversation.
Yes.
But when the first lady, second lady, will be cut on now the case is pending now. Can the vice president, whose wife was the beneficiary of that action, come and condemn the same judiciary for holding somebody for saying something? No. So, and one thing I make actually said the question is just political posturing. And yes, MP before Muji candidate. But I know that the material issue of the minority that may reason. Who can tell me say what I have said is not fair? Based on what the GBA has done in this country. Obi there's even an association of judges and magistrates.
Yeah, there is.
Meaning, what I said, there was a time Dr. Kwakye of blessed memory, no, yeah, NDC chairman. By no can say, oh, there are several ways to kill a cat.
To kill a cat, yes.
Way a idiomatic expression, can be everyday expression. For saying that, both the GBA and the Association of Judges and Magistrates publicly condemned him. So, if the GBA is criticized for keeping quiet about this instant case, is it a fair criticism or not?
No, it is. It is fair, except to say, sir, the same GBA. Okay, you are calling on the GBA to criticize him because Afenyo Markin is a member of the GBA, right?
It is not just that. There are people among young members of the GBA. GBA has condemned them for saying things about the judiciary. Afenyo, apart from the fact, so yeah, GBA members, as a minority leader, a very prominent person in Ghanaian society. Into the level of responsibility expected of him, is much higher than some of the journalists, Adesa, Omanka Kansem, about judiciary, who have actually been punished by the same judiciary. So it is not just because of his membership, but the fact that this one is a clear affront to the judiciary. But
yeah, but would that not be you inviting pressure onto the GBA when you know very well, sir, even at time amumu opposition, no, enye insema amunsumo kafa judge for hunyina na GBA ebabe condemn in this thing about unanimous 11 or say unanimous 7 Obi a women's organizer Osno Mame, it came from leading members of your party. The GBA did not condemn.
Obi, which leading members? You see, local social media now. There are so many things that MPP followers are saying. You cannot hold the MPP for it. However, if Dr. Bamiaka, minority leader can, and office holders of the MPP can, it becomes a position of the party that you can hold on to. So, Obi Cultural Unanimous FCR, the GDA cannot go about speaking to everything written everywhere. But it depends on who has said it. In this instance, we are talking a minority leader. No small, minority leader.
Okay.
A leader of parliament. I was also a prominent member of the GBA or an officer of the court. And a workers assembly. And yet, up to now, wouldn't. So there must be consistency. So I need who say, that's all I'm calling for.
Very well. Felix,
but as for the fact that people should be able to express themselves freely, me, I endorse it fully, but kind of publicly. In fact, if you mean go back, what can I say, John? I think 2012 or so, after elections, no.
Yeah.
He was heard before the Supreme Court. And so for Assembly, I cannot repeat it here. After that, I think his sentence was commuted, and I said he was pardoned. If I'm honest, even though he was convicted.
Yes, he was pardoned.
Yes. I publicly said so. I didn't think that it was necessary for us to go that left. I said so. Position in terms of free speech.
No. To be fair to you, yes, you've been consistent in that position.
Yes,
but
so
I'm
calling for consistency on the part of those who expressed disquiet in the past.
But I think one thing you also can do now that you are in a position of power is to probably initiate conversations around what do we do with Section 208, which is still in our statute books. Because at the end of the day, as long as it is there, the police is empowered to enforce same.
Even the entire constitution of Ghana is undergoing amendment. In fact, last week, I announced cabinet was considering the position paper, draft position paper.
Committee in the okay.
In fact, many can say we've done the first part, but the laws will be engineering. That's also in the weeks coming. So, as for amendments of laws, if it ever becomes an issue, then repeal these two sections. Me personally, I will not be opposed to it.
Very well.
It doesn't mean say there will not be safeguards to ensure say, for instance, people can say, we are Kenya, Faba, not so cool, Kenya, I don't know you can't tolerate it.
And they were across the line, yes. Yes.
So maybe it is in those instances that we take action. But anything below that, that will express an opinion, whether harshly or mildly, about the working of an arm of government and our public official there, I think it should pass. That is my personal view. And I've said it publicly. I've also said it privately for those who know me.
Very well.